It's time for Recipe of the Day. Garlic Parmesan sauce is one of those great recipes to have in your back pocket when you just need something special. It's really versatile. It is kind of like an Alfredo sauce, but with more garlic and, well, probably about the same amount of Parmesan cheese, but it's not quite the same. And it ends up working both on pasta and also on things like chicken wings. So you want those garlic Parmesan wings, you can use this sauce. You can also use it for pasta. And it is great as a warm dip for like veggies or toast, bread, that kind of thing, or even as a cold veggie dip. You chill it down after and it's great for that as well. So it's one of those things that once you know how to make it, you can use it for a whole bunch of things. You can put it on chicken, you can put it on beef. It's a good dip for shrimp. So it's just really, really versatile and I love it. So to make it, you're going to start with a large saucepan over medium heat and you're going to melt 4 tablespoons of butter. Now the recipe says unsalted butter and that's just so that I have the amount of salt correct for you. If you have salted butter, you can put less salt in later and that'll all work out. So we'll just assume 4 tablespoons of unsalted butter melted over medium heat. Then you're adding in 4 cloves of garlic that you've minced up and you just cook and stir that for about a minute just until it's nice and soft and fragrant. You don't really want it browning. Then you're going to whisk in 2 tablespoons of all-purpose flour, regular flour. Use a flat whisk. That's my favorite tool for this. Whisk it all in there until it forms a paste. And then you're going to slowly drizzle in 3/4 of a cup of milk. Now, I tend to have non-fat milk on hand, so I do the milk, whisking the whole time, the non-fat milk, and then go in with 3/4 of a cup of heavy whipping cream. That is the combination that I use most often, milk and heavy whipping cream. But if you have whole milk, you could just use that. So it would be 1.5 cups of the whole milk. Or if you wanted to keep this just a little bit lighter, you could do the full 1.5 cups of the non-fat milk. It's going to be fine, just a little bit less richness in the flavor. So you are drizzling in 3/4 of a cup of milk slowly while whisking, keeping it smooth the whole time. And then another 3/4 of a cup of some other dairy liquid, whether that is your heavy cream or some more milk. Oh, I should have said that another great thing that you can use for that second 3/4 of a cup or for the full amount is evaporated milk. I love having evaporated milk in my pantry. I don't drink it like by itself. It kind of tastes a little bit odd. It's like thick and rich and maybe even kind of a little bit sweet, but I'm not talking about sweetened condensed milk. Really, really evaporated milk is what you want, but it's kind of thicker than regular milk. So even the non-fat version has kind of a richness and a thickness to it. So if I need something a little bit richer flavored for a recipe like this and I don't have it in my fridge, chances are it's in that can of evaporated milk in my pantry and I can grab that. So yeah, you can totally use that for the full 1.5 cups of dairy that's going in here, dairy liquid, or you could use that for just one of the two. So 3/4 of a cup of that and then 3/4 of a cup of something else. So you drizzle in all of that while whisking the whole time, keeping it smooth, and then let it come up to a simmer, just a little bubble. It's going to thicken a little bit. Take it off the heat, and then you're stirring in 4 ounces of shredded Parmesan cheese. That is just over a cup. And I will just say here that what I'm using is shredded Parmesan cheese that I've bought as a block of Parmesan cheese that I shred on the fine shredding side of my box grater or with a rasp, although that seems to take a little bit longer. You absolutely can use pre-shredded Parmesan cheese or grated Parmesan cheese. You can even use the stuff in the green container that they sell in the like pasta aisle there. But it's not going to be quite as good. And sometimes those different brands have like anti-caking agents in them that I find when they melt into the sauce, don't let it melt as smoothly and can make it a little bit gritty. I don't think it's actually going to be that noticeable here, especially if you're having this on wings, but it's just something to be aware of. So you melt in that cheese, and while it's melting in and you're stirring, you can also stir in a 1/2 teaspoon of salt and a 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper. And then if you want to, 1/4 to 1/2 teaspoon of Italian seasoning, or you can go in with a little bit of dry oregano, dry basil. Those are optional, up to you. You stir that until it's all melted in and smooth and well combined, and then it's ready to use. So how much are you using? If you are doing 12 ounces of dry pasta, the kind of box that has 12 ounces in it, you're going to use the full recipe of sauce for that amount. Now, if your pasta box is a pound, 16 ounces, it's still going to work, but you're going to need a little bit of pasta water. And that is where I want to remind you of one of my favorite tips out there. when you know you need pasta water, as soon as you read that in a recipe, even though the pasta is cooking or hasn't even started cooking yet, you get out your colander, you put it in the sink, and then you put your measuring cup inside of the colander. That way, when you need to drain your pasta and you've forgotten that you need the pasta water and you're carrying your big pot of pasta over to the sink and you're about to just dump it down the drain, you see that measuring cup and it makes you stop. It makes you put your pasta pot back on the stove and then use that measuring cup to scoop out some of the water, and then you can drain it into the colander. So that is my tip for that. So if you're going to do 16 ounces of uncooked pasta, cook it, reserve some pasta cooking water, then toss it with the full amount of sauce, and then drizzle in a tablespoon or two at a time of that hot pasta water and toss it again. It should loosen everything up just enough to coat the pasta. And that's a great tip. Even when you have the 12 ounces of pasta, sometimes it just makes that sauce a little more silky. So it's always a good idea to save some pasta water, and then you can use it to make that sauce just perfect for you. And of course, the reason that we use the pasta water and not just regular water is that it is hot. So that's good. You're not cooling anything down. It's also very well seasoned because you've seasoned it with salt. So it's like seasoned water, and it picks up the starches from the pasta in the water. So it's kind of like a little more thick, silky, and luscious than plain water. That is why people use pasta water in their cooking. Now, if you want to use the sauce for wings, it is about 1/3 cup of warm sauce in a medium-sized bowl for 6 cooked chicken wings. If you like them really saucy, you can go as much as half a cup, but I find that overkill. I will say what I do like to do is to shred up some extra Parmesan cheese and mince up a little bit of extra garlic, stir that together, and then toss the wings with the sauce and then sprinkle the cheese and garlic over top. So there's just like a little like texture and extra cheesy niceness on there. Now, like I said, this is a really versatile sauce. It will stay in the fridge in a covered container for up to 3 days, and then you can reheat it in the microwave for 30 seconds at a time, stirring in between just until it's heated through. And then you can use it warm as a veggie dip, as any of the things that I talked about. It also could be used cold. So if you refrigerate the leftovers and then you need a veggie dip later in the week, you can spread it on bread like in a sandwich. It just is a wonderful, wonderful sauce. You're going to love this. I am going to put the link to this recipe in the show notes for this podcast episode, or you can head to cookthestory.com/ROTD and get it there. Everything there is arranged by date, so it's helpful to know that today is February 2nd of 2025. And if you're looking for more delicious ideas like this one for game day today or the big one coming up, make sure you're following me on social media. I have so many great ideas. I am Cook the Story in all the places that I'm at, and that is TikTok, Instagram, Pinterest, and Facebook. Cook the Story on all 4. I'm Christine Pittman from cookthestory.com, thecookville.com, the all-new chicken cookbook, and from this podcast, Recipe of the Day. I hope you have a great day. Let's get cooking.